Blitz is a character that was presented to us with very little information. Despite how loud and obnoxious he can be, Blitz seems to actually be rather private and secretive, not even revealing important information about his life to his adopted daughter Luna. Instead, we learn most about Blitz through the other characters that are introduced, and with what each character brings with them, as well as other little background hints, I think I have constructed a pretty decent timeline for Blitz's life, one that may also shed light on how and why Blitz started IMP. My name is Deepcut, welcome back to Cartoon Universe, and we love the support we've been getting from Hazbin content, but we noticed a very small percentage of our viewers are actually subscribed. I get it. I'm a bit picky about who I subscribe to as well, but if you like Hazbin Hotel and Helluva content, we've got plenty more coming that should blow your mind, so maybe hit that subscribe button if you want to be around for that. At the start of the series, Blitz has already had IMP established for some short time now, long enough that the characters have seemingly gotten used to the routine that their work provides, but not for more than a year or two based on the way they discuss it with outsiders, like in episode 5 at the Harvest Moon Festival. The first glimpse we get into Blitz's past life is in the pilot itself, where we see that Blitz used to be part of a circus act called the Imp Siblings. This included Blitz with two other imps who were intended to be his sisters, one named Barbie Wire and another named Tilla. After the pilot, this poster was changed to simply be the Imp Twins, with Tilla no longer there. Barbie is interesting in that she is the first female imp that I've noticed that is bald. According to Fatis, one of the early workers on Hazbin Hotel and Helluva, Blitz's unique horns and lack of hair are the imp equivalent of balding, and seems to be genetic considering it has affected his female twin too. Tilla may or may not still be part of the show, but I would imagine that they wrote her out of this poster for a reason. With these changes, we can also see that there is a very deliberate choice to remove the white spot that covers much of Blitz's face, which was present in the original version in the pilot, indicating that this change is no accident. In an earlier video, we theorized that these white spots are essentially scars for imps after sustaining pretty big injuries. Something further supported by Blitz being shot in the arm and then having a white spot develop where that wound was in a future episode. This would mean that at some point in Blitz's life, he had suffered a huge injury to his face, and with other flashbacks and pictures from the past, we can start to put things on different sides of the timeline in relation to that event. While we do not know how he got the scar yet, it may also inform us as to why Blitz made some transitions in his life. So far back as we can trace it now, we know that Blitz did not have a scar when he performed with his sister. Blitz later has advertisements showing just himself in the office, which indicates that he and Barbie had some sort of separation in the showbiz. When we meet Verosika in episode 3, she indicates through humor that Blitz's sister is in rehab, a place for people who are no longer famous, which leads me to believe that Barbie Wire found some level of fame and success that Blitz did not, forcing her to go her own way without Blitz weighing her down, and for Blitz to try again with his one-man shows as we see in The Office. In episode 2 of the series, we learn that Blitz once worked alongside a robotic Fizzerali, or Robo-Fizz, in the theme park Lululand. Robo-Fizz is interesting in that he isn't a real demon, but a robot made to look like the real Fizzerali, a popular demon from the Lust Ring who has love bots made based off of him. Though love bots are meant for more adult purposes, it seems you can purchase a Robo-Fizz to do just about anything, including just performing at a place like Lululand. We see that when Blitz worked with Robo-Fizz, he is seemingly missing the white spot that is on his face now. It can be hard to tell as he is covered in clown makeup, but in the very next shot, we cut to Blitz posing in the exact same way, and we can see the white spot in places where red was in the flashback, so working at Lululand definitely came before whatever accident caused that white scar. We do know that we will meet the real Fizzerali in an upcoming episode that takes place in the Lust Ring, but it raises the question of why. Blitz has been revealed to know some pretty famous and powerful people already, such as Verosika and Stolas, both of whom he had an intimate relationship with. If I had to guess, I would say that the real Fizzerali was someone Blitz knew from his performance days before Lululand, which is what made working at Lululand extra depressing. After being kicked out of his performance by his sister, and then perhaps being out-competed by the real Fizzerali, Blitz would go to work at Lululand hoping to make people laugh on a very small scale, but he would be outshined by a robot version of the last person who already outshined him in the more famous circles, convincing Blitz that he was just never meant to be taken seriously as a performer, and thus quitting that lifestyle. From here, Blitz would go on to be Veroska's bodyguard, and I have a lot more to go with that theory, but real quick, if you like Hazbin Hotel and Helluva boss theories, consider joining our Patreon. We also cover other cartoon topics as well, but for $5 a month you get 3 theories or similar discussions just like this one. In fact, this video originally started as a smaller Patreon exclusive. If $5 seems like a lot, we have other tiers, including a $1 tier for 1 theory a week to just try it out before committing to something bigger. Each of our tiers have their own unique rewards. We just relaunched our Patreon, so everything is pretty new. Go down to the description or into the pinned comment for the link, and I'll see you guys there. Now, I believe Blitz switched to bodyguarding at this point because it really wouldn't make sense for him to become a bodyguard first and then later go on to work at a place like Lululand again. Considering he worked in entertainment before, trying to be a performer himself, he probably had a lot of good connections for people who needed bodyguards. Now, it is possible that something else happened here that made Blitz go into the bodyguard field, as it is something he has a distaste for as seen in episode 2 and 5. He could have gotten into a violent altercation that would have made him realize just how powerful he is, and that he should be getting into a field of violence instead of performing. That being said, I believe he chose this job essentially to just pay the bills, and used his connections from his days in showbiz to get work bodyguarding famous people like Veroska, which could explain how he ended up getting close to someone like Stolas. I think he would have found that this new job didn't actually fulfill him, as in addition to him complaining about it in the show, we also know that he abandoned Veroska, stole her credit cards, and ran off to get horseback riding lessons when he quit/broke up with her. While he may have broken up with Veroska for purely stupid reasons, this is where I imagine that the violent incident took place that would change Blitz's life. Some crazed fan likely came after Veroska, and Blitz ended up taking the hit for her. I imagine that in addition to this injury, Blitz also violently destroyed this fan and had a rebirth of sorts. With his new scar, that white spot on his face, he now had the realization that he is good at being violent, but that he doesn't need to use it to protect someone considered more important than him. At this point, Blitz would have realized that he was powerful enough to go into business for himself and started working on his plan to seduce Stolas and get access to the living world, which in turn brings us back to where we are today. The only thing I don't quite have figured out is at what point Luna came into his life. We have no real age for her, but she seems to be a very young adult, and we know that Blitz adopted her when she was almost 18 years old to begin with. This is hell, where demons can live for hundreds or even thousands of years if they aren't immortal though, so for all we know, he has been taking care of her for decades at this point. We do know that it was after Blitz's relationship with Veroska, as she knows nothing about that relationship herself, so perhaps after Veroska there is even more to Blitz's story that will be revealed to us, and somewhere in there is where Luna would fit. But so far, these are just my theories on how Blitz's timeline works and how he ended up starting IMP. Let me know if there's anything I missed, or perhaps another way to look at it that I have not thought of yet, and I'll see you next time.